Back in the book segment tonight, inside stuff about the State of the Union address and the Democratic Party. Joining us from Washington, Chief Political Correspondent Carl Cameron and Chief White House Correspondent Major Garrett. So, Major, President nervous about this address? You think he's a little tense about it?
Not at all, Bill. Well, at least that's not what the White House says. Now, clearly the president knows this is his last moment, probably for the remainder of this month and certainly for the spring, to reshape the politics facing his party and facing his presidency. His poll numbers are down. Democrats are nervous. The president knows this speech is going to have to change that political environment. Now, look, the inside scoop on this speech was they started working on it in November. The president looked at a lot of drafts and themes in December. Then came Massachusetts, and everything had to be recalibrated. Why? Because the president's health care legislation began to fall apart after that Senate defeat in Massachusetts, and he had to do things more responsive to voter concerns about jobs and the deficit, which he's going to try to do tonight. Will Democrats go along with it? Will Republicans help? Those are unanswered questions. That's how the speech has been recalibrated since the Massachusetts loss last Tuesday.
Okay. But look, let's face it, these things are really dull, Major, usually. You know, you and I are paid to watch them. I don't even know if I'm going to get through it. I got the transcript. I'll read the transcript. Nancy Pelosi jumping up and down, as I said earlier in the program, 15 times. Yeah, I got to take Dramamine on it, just like this and that. And it's usually a general thing, you know. They don't get too specific because they don't want to gotcha. They don't want people like me going, I can't do this. And I'm just wondering, you know, his speeches haven't been that great, let's be honest, in the last 6 months or so. They were much better on the campaign trail.
Well, Bill, think about it this way. Think about it this way. This is going to be the first speech in 6 to 7 months that's not going to be dominated by the theme of health care. That's a big shift.
But he's got to address it, though, right?
Yes, he's going to address it, but only in a general term. Why? Because this is the reality, Bill. Health care, at least as we knew it, is dead.
Okay, but our guests just before you, our guests Halpern and Littman, just before you said, oh, that's not true, Nancy Pelosi's going to make a stunning comeback. And you're telling me, Garrett, that this is a bunch of bull, that it's dead, it's out, it's gone?
No. Let me finish, Bill. Healthcare as we knew it is dead, and whatever form it takes will only take shape after Congress deals with a jobs package, which will probably take all the month of February, if not longer. So healthcare, for a while, is on the back burner.
That's what I thought. I agree with you, Garrett.
Yes, I'm right.
You're right. Okay, now let's go to camera. Politico website says there's all kinds of fear and loathing, with apologies to Hunter Thompson, inside the Democratic Party, that Rahm Emanuel isn't like this one, and the liberals don't like that, and this and that. Is this true? Is there really some vicious infighting going on?
I mean, I don't know how vicious it is, but there's a lot of Democratic infighting. There always is, and it's worse than normal now. Just this afternoon, Bill, a spectacular illustration of how divided the Democratic Party is. House Speaker Nancy Pelosi this afternoon said that she supports the president's idea of a spending freeze, or more accurately, if she's going to support it, then it ought to be applied even to the Department of Defense. The practical effect of that is to take the president's spending sort of fiscal frugality, which liberals aren't all that enamored of, and apply it to something that the president's never going to go for, and that even Republicans think is a really, really crazy idea for the Democrats to be proposing at this time. So the House Speaker, Nancy Pelosi, hours before the president's State of the Union speech, actually gets in his face about his plan to reduce some of the spending.
Are you telling me that she wants to freeze spending on defense, Nancy Pelosi? That's what she wants to do?
I mean, it is an amazing thing to have happen hours before this speech.
With Iran close to developing nuclear weapons, and we may have to face them, she wants to freeze spending. Well, see, this is what I mean. I mean, how can any American support crazy stuff like this? Trying to tell everybody this is insane. This stuff is nuts.
It is at the very least, Bill, an illustration of the fractiousness in the Democratic Party when the Speaker of the House says that before the President's State of the Union speech.
I need you to tell me the truth, Cameron. Do you think that President Obama loathes Nancy Pelosi?
I think Democrats are filled with love and tremendous fear this year, Bill, and here's why. You and I talked about this, man. Their DNA changed when the January 1st calendar page changed. It's a re-election now. They're scared. Not quite a panic. But
I don't think he likes her.
Every man and woman for themselves now.
I don't think
now it's all about their own re-election, not the president's agenda.
Garrett, I don't think the president likes Nancy Pelosi.
But here's the reality, though. Think about this. When the White House tries to ask itself who has done more for its agenda, it's not Senate Democrats, it's House Democrats. House Democrats started the ball rolling on the stimulus. Whether you like it or not, they got the ball rolling on that. They passed health care. They passed banking regulation. They passed a jobs bill. House Democrats are furious at Senate Democrats because they say everything they've done on behalf of the Obama agenda has gone there to die. And one of the things the president's going to do tonight is say to Senate Republicans, okay, you won Massachusetts. You have your 41st vote. That gives you buy-in now. You're going to have to decide if you're going to help me get some of my agenda through. Now, Republicans are likely to say, only if you come our way, Mr. President, and that's the next Rubicon.
So
This White House is going to decide whether it has to cross.
That's a good point about the House. But I just think that I think Obama's shrewd enough to know that every time Nancy Pelosi gets out there, the House has done more for the Obama agenda than the Senate Democratic caucus has, even though it had 60 votes. Right. But remember,
the White
the
House does
approval
not
ratings,
loathe the House Democrats.
the approval ratings
but
of
the
Ms.
key
Pelosi.
point here, Bill, is what Democrats sitting there tonight are going to have to decide after this speech. Do I run with the Obama agenda, or do I begin to position myself, if not against it, at least skeptical of it to save my own hide?
Yeah, that's right.
That's what this is really about internally tonight.
All right, gentlemen, thanks very much. We appreciate it. And that is it for this special edition of The Factor. State of the Union, as we said, coming up in a few moments. As always, we'd like you to check out BillO'Reilly.com, where we have a very special promotion for you. Buy a signed copy of Bullfresh. Get a free American Patriot pen. Wow, it doesn't get much better than that. As always, we thank you for watching us tonight. Now let's hand it off to our pal Brett Baer, standing by in Washington.